Welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Once again, this is all of the emotions. This makes me laugh. It has made me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, and often just really ticks me off. It is Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, probably the only new comedy that I watch as far as the whole 30-minute thing, though it's still not one of the formula type of shows. It's from Apple, and it is on its third season. I'm going through this first part where it's going to be non-spoiler, so just a little bit of an idea of how I feel about the first episode of this season. It was a bit hit and miss. I think that a lot of the first part in particular was getting to know you. Let's look at what was happening since the show left us and remember this person, remember that person. One or two little moments of ha ha ha, you want to laugh? I got that feeling a little bit. Even the dog did not approve. So I was starting to think, oh my, that maybe they really are losing it. It's not very exciting, not very good. And then there was a moment, yes, precious, there was a moment where about 35 minutes in, that reminded me, okay, this is the reason why I tend to like this show. This is got some of the spirit of why I do enjoy it. I really wish that dog would shut up. That's actually not something very kind, is it, to talk about a dog like that? But he won't shut up. Come here, buddy. Come here. And that's what I'm going to get into the spoiler part. So I can't give this episode a 10 out of 10. Certainly not a 10 out of 10. Neither can I give it a 9 or an 8. I'm going to give it a 7.5 because the first half was quite bland and it didn't get into its groove until the second half of this episode. Now, this was a 1 hour episode rather than a half hour one. I think that is also something that affected what I was seeing. Even though I did like what they were doing, it did just occur to me. I never laughed. I mean, I didn't even get a chuckle in the entire episode. And that is a problem. Hopefully things might get a little bit better in the next episodes. Oh, but yeah, trying a little too hard there. Trying a little too hard. All right. So, I'm going to be ending the non-spoiler part of it. The non-spoiler part of it is going to end. I guess if you want to know, should you watch it? Of course you should. Of course you should. If you have watched the other ones. Now we're going to move to spoiler. Let me save this here. We are going to be talking spoilers now. So you have been warned. For all of you watching right now and watching on the replay, you have been warned. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, we are going to go into spoilers. If I can get this. All right. It starts off with a bit of a fake out, which I thought was cheap. They have Ted Lasso looking at his phone saying, I love you, and all that. And it's his wife. So at first we're thinking, oh my gosh, he's back together with his wife. No, he's not. The text was for his son. We can all talk about why it's quite disturbing that a young boy has an iPhone. On the other hand, maybe he needs to because he is being jet setted across the ocean. I like the fact, though, that they start to address the elephant in the room. There is a problem. There is a problem with this whole situation. No matter how Ted feels about the need for space, no matter how important the Premier League is, it's always gonna be an issue when you leave behind your son, even when the marriage breaks down. Because especially at these ages, I realize I need to put an S here for spoilers. It's not fair to the kid. I've never liked it, and I think it's one of the weakest parts of the show. But they're starting to talk about it. He's saying like, "Yeah, I miss you so much. I can't believe it's been 3 years I've been here." There's been a lot of talk about this. So this is him saying goodbye to his son. And he's gonna be following his son all the way across the ocean on the app phone, which I do, and we do for our friends. Next slide. He's talking to his shrink from the last episode, and as they're yapping, we learn, I think, that she's in Australia, far away, and they give us a little montage of, "Look, Ted is still part of the community." And then toward the end of the phone call, she's like, "We only have a few minutes left," and then you realize, yeah, still in therapy, it is not a friendship, and not only that, she has quite a good-looking boyfriend. So once she finished the session, she's there. I'm not sure we're gonna see her again, or maybe we're just gonna hear her on the television, rather, on the telephone. Next. Hey, Rebecca, remember her? She is still the best part of this entire show. She's better than Ted Lasso. She's better than the whole lot. I love her more than life itself. On the other hand, just some jokes falling flat, and some of the banter, the whole biscuits with the boss, it's like, "Okay, fine." It's like, "Remember this? Remember how we had biscuits with the boss?" And her sidekick from Downton Abbey, the thing where he starts to kind of wanna vomit when he's feeling like something's uncomfortable, ugh, just falling flat and getting old. And then we get to see some Keely where she is with her new business. Love her more than life itself. And there's a really funny moment with the friendship between the two of them. They they start to talk and then they just start to cry. Which if you are a woman, you understand. And that's what we do with our girlfriends. That was a nice moment, but it was still just a little flat, just a dinner a little flat, more like getting to know you, and of course, they have to do an obligatory dig at Joe Rogan of all things. Really? It's like, come on, one thing that makes this show mostly good is that it doesn't do that too often. There was one moment in season 1, one in season 2 I had an issue with, but come on. D don't it completely takes you out of it, and I thought it sucked. Yay! Here's one of my other favorite characters. He's still doing what he does, which isn't a lot. He was doing what he was supposed to do. So yay. Good to see him again. And I love me some Roy Kent. There he is. He's now working as a coach and just the usual grumpy self. He's one of those characters that could kind of read the phone book and he'd be fine, but not a lot we see of him at the first. Not too impressed. But the villain of the show, I hate him so much, which I guess means he's doing his job. But we show that he is still incredibly insecure, incredibly obsessed with Twitter and what people are saying about him. And he is way too big for his britches, talking down to the team. And then he's brought down a peg when he's brought to the big villain Rupert. And Rupert's like, "Yeah, oh yeah, we had to tow this crap car." Oh, do I have Rupert? Where'd he go? Oh my goodness. I had a picture of Rupert. Never mind, he didn't make it onto the slideshow. We'll recover. It was actually his car. Nate, the not so great, he has a little Mini, and he was embarrassed by it. Maybe one of the most unrealistic parts of this season is the big rivals of Richmond are West Ham, and West Ham sucks. Currently, West Ham, well, I think it was in the relegation line. They just creeped above the relegation line. They are currently in a 17 place. If you're 18, 19, or 20, you will be relegated. While Richmond is being predicted to end dead last at 20, which will mean that they get relegated again, bringing us back to the beginning of season 2. I don't think they're going to be relegated. I think they are going to win the whole thing. They need to, in my humble opinion. But if they don't, well, I can recover from that too. I can see them doing that at the end, to be honest. Because this show really isn't about winning from the world's point of view. It's about winning within yourself, which is what makes it so good. Bringing me to when the episode starts to get good. When the episode starts to be the Ted Lasso that I fell in love with, the Ted Lasso that inspired me, that actually helped me through some crappy times. Ted Lasso, instead of doing a traditional soccer practice, football practice, he takes them to a sewer. Now, what's going on in the sewer is he's teaching them a lesson. The lesson was inspired by his son having accidentally watched it, and he took him down there to face his fear. And he tells the story of the Great Stink of 1857, which, believe it or not, 1858, is a real thing. I looked it up. I would be the biggest liar on planet Earth if I pretended I knew what this was. What do they say? What do they say? This is from the History Collection. In the middle of the 19th century, London was arguably the greatest city in the world, Charles Dickens and all that. But running through the great city was the filthiest of rivers. Between the years 1800 and 1850, the population of London more than doubled. Oh my gosh. The Thames was a putrid river of filth. In 1858, a perfect storm of factors combined to cause the Great Stink. An evil odor rose up out of the Thames and spread through the city. Life became unbearable. And oh my gosh. And you can go into detail and learn more about it. But the Great Stink was a thing, and Ted's teaching them a lesson, which we see in a moment. It's just poopy. Let it flow. It's just that is an actual line that Jamie Tart gives. I would argue, let's just say the word. It's just SH dash dash. Just let it flow away. And this is a Ted Lasso I love, because I cannot tell you how many times, me personally, and observations I see, I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to just let it go. Stupid Elsa ruined the whole let it go thing, but there was a really good point in the original song before it became overplayed. Because if you don't let things go, who's being hurt? Not the person who's the object of who's driving you crazy. It's you. It's you. It eats you alive. And Jamie Tart says that in response to Nate, the not so great, dissing the team, because some people put it out on Twitter that they all went down in garbage, and Nate was in this press conference saying, well, it makes sense because they play like SHIT. There was also a good moment with Nate in this press conference, because you see that he still has all his insecurities. Whenever you see a D dash dash dash, it says more about them than it says about anything else. So maybe this is something to live by. This is the first quote I really liked from this season. You just gotta let it go. Just let it flow away. Let it flow away. Which brings us to the next point I really liked. Fight back. Because Rupert, who has been very cruel to Rebecca, the ex-wife, was laughing at her. They were mocking him, and Rebecca was feeling that Ted was not taking it seriously. And then finally she just says, and you can just see the hurt on her face. She's like, "He's laughing at me. Could you please fight back for once?" Which maybe is a bit of a paradox to what I just said. Well, not a paradox, a contradiction. Because I just got done saying you got to let it go, and it's now fight back. Again, this was the genius of the second part of the episode. It's like, yeah, but when do you need to fight back? What ends up happening, though, answers it for me. It's it's like, yes, you should fight back, but you should fight back smart. Don't fight back like an idiot. Don't get into the weeds, don't meet them where they're meeting them. So, for example, Ted Lasso could have met in kind with it, but he fights smart. And at first, you're not sure. Even on the look on Rebecca's face, she's like, "Oh my gosh, he is just going to not do it right. He's going to just make light of it, and he's not going to fight back. And I'm so mad at him right now." He begins with Nate the Great, calls him Nate the Great. I still call him Nate the Not So Great, and compliments him. And the reporters are all like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think, he's gonna do a great job with West Ham and all that. He's a great guy. I wish him all the best." And that's when Rebecca's like, "Oh my gosh, he's gonna do that again." And I kind of saw where he was going with this, because I was thinking he's doing the pouring hot ashes on the person's head, the hot coals on the person's head, that when you speak nicely of your enemy, you that's actually worse than getting mad. I understand getting mad. We wanna get mad, but you gotta fight smart. And then Ted really starts to fight smart, and he starts to diss him in his own way. He starts to go, "What he really should have done was said something about me being an American. I mean, come on, or how dumb I am." And he does this game then with the press people, like, "Ted Lasso is so dumb. How dumb is he?" And then he started doing all these dumb punchlines. And Rebecca starts to figure it out, what he's doing. He is fighting back. He's actually fighting back harder than if he'd have come out and said, "Nate's a piece of crap and West Ham sucks," and all this. And then he finally hits back where it's hurt the most, where he says also, "How crazy am I?" And he's referring to the panic attacks. And they're all like, "How crazy are you?" And he makes fun of his panic attacks instead of getting all, "How dare you?" Or trying to hide his panic attack. He makes light of it, makes fun of it, and in doing so hurts Nate and hurts Rupert in a manner that he would not have been capable of, that he would not have been able to achieve if he had met them in kind. And I'm like, this is why I watch this feckin' show. This is why I watch. And immediately on Twitter, you saw, "Oh yeah, how dumb are you?" Sorry. Uh, I had a prompt for that to help me. Oops. "Who's the wank now?" And everyone started making fun of Nate the Great, and all of them showing that Ted succeeded. I thought it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, and an inspiration for me. Believe it or not, this is how I usually fight back. I try to do it like this as well. I found it's far more effective and far better for my soul. 10 out of 10, these moments. 10 out of 10. Hello, everyone coming in. Welcome, welcome. Please say hi. Tell me what you think. These are spoilers. Just want to warn you all. But gosh darn it. Great moment. Then we move on to a little bit of heart and soul. I think it was a bit of the question in the back of our minds, like, "Hey, what's going on with them?" And when first we see them together and the little girl, you're like, "Oh, everything's okay." But then they're kinda like, "Okay, let's talk to her." It's like, "We've got something to tell you." And she said either it's bad or something or it's good. I forget what the the niece said. At first, I thought she was gonna say that she's pregnant because some of their body language, it just reminded me of that. But no, that was not what was going on, that they broke up. And was really a sad moment. And the little girl's like, "Why? Why did you break up?" And he responds, well, I got a new job. She got a new job. We've got all this going on." And the girl's even like, "But why does that mean you have to break up?" And it makes you think, doesn't it? Sometimes people break up for the dumbest reasons. And just because y'all can't maybe be together all the time, that doesn't mean that, I don't know, when you meet someone that you really get along with, it is really dumb when people allow it to fall apart. You can find a way. Let me give the caveat that, of course, you have to break up if it gets toxic or any of that kind of stuff. The usual disclaimers. And then she's like, "It's okay, statistically, well, y'all can't survive. People can't handle changes like this." And then she says something really sad. "Nothing lasts forever. If there's one constant in my life, nothing lasts forever." She says that in context with my parents divorced when I was 4. Oh my gosh. So I'm keep reminding myself, why do they call this a comedy? I think I'm really, really sad right now. But it also maybe is a bit of a condemnation. My gosh, what have we done to our children? Mm. But there was also a great moment when she goes in the car with Roy and says, "I'll go, Roy, can I say a bad word?" And he's like, "Go for it." And she says, "I think you're being stupid." And that gave me a smile because a lot of kids think that that's a bad word at a certain age. Maybe by that point in a child's life, it's at the end of it, yeah, that would know better now, but that it's okay because she was completely right. They're being stupid. And it ended with something else poignant. He's talking to his son who did land, and his son showing off a Thanos thing. He's like, "So and so," I forget the guy's name, "gave this to me." And Ted's like, "Who's that?" He goes, "Mommy's friend." And I was like, "I knew it. I knew it. I knew there was someone else." Now, is this person someone she met after they broke up and his wife and he divorced? I still suspect, because I suspected from the very beginning in season 1, she had somebody else, because, whenever anyone says that, they've not said that to me, thank goodness, because I've never dated people that would try something that stupid. But whenever someone's like, "Yeah, I my boyfriend wants to break up with me," or "My girlfriend wants to break up with me," never changes any, doesn't matter the sex. This has happened with, friends of mine that are men and women. And I always say, "What's her name?" And my girlfriend's like, "What do you mean, what's her name?" It's like, "He just said that he wanted to move on, have a break, and you just wasn't feeling in love with me anymore." And I said, "What's her name?" "No, he doesn't have anyone else." Well, sure enough. Yes, there was. There always is. Very rarely is it not. If I've never been wrong on it, never once. So that's how the episode ended. It redeemed itself in the second half. Gave me something that I wanted to see, something that it gave me a new slogan to use. It reminded me, gosh, about, the importance of fighting smart, not fighting hard, and also reminded me of son of a biatch, people. If you've got something good, hang on to it. What's wrong with you? My only issue with the episode is it never once made me laugh. That's a problem with this show. It needs to make you laugh. It is a comedy. Make me laugh, you SOBs. And and maybe they won't, but I'm of course gonna keep watching. So overall, the whole episode, I'm gonna change it from what started off as a 7.5 or 75%, an average grade, to an 85%. I can't say that the whole episode was any higher because of the crap beginning, but wow, got into its groove. So, am I right or am I wrong? Am I really right or am I really wrong? If you are watching this, and those of you that will be watching this in replay, please let me know in the comments. And thank you. I see my lurkers. Thank you very much for being here. I hope that you enjoyed some of the thoughts I've had on the Ted Lasso season 3, episode 1. Please feel free to comment sometime or stick around. Come back next week when I also plan to do one. They might be live, they may not be live. It just depends on my schedule because I am going to be caregiving. Also, in about 10 minutes, I think my friend Mara is going to be going live. I can double check, but go over to Jade Shadow, and even if she's not going to go live, go and subscribe to her. I'll send you over there because she usually has a show on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Yes, she is. Oh, she's talking the Boondock Saints 2. Let me give you the link. And if you do go there, please let her know I sent her because I know it makes people get the warm and the fuzzies when that occurs. Oops. Here we are. Once I get this in here. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day and be certain all that SH dash dash that you see, just let it flow away from you. It's just poop.